Everyone dreams of finding the next multibagger, the one stock that will turn thousands into millions, the one idea that can change a life. But here's the truth few will tell you. Multibaggers are not found by chance. They're built by design. So, in this masterclass, we'll decode the 7 hidden traits every multibagger shares, traits that help the wealthy identify tomorrow's giants while others are still doubting them. Class begins. Every empire begins with a spark, not a spreadsheet. That spark is vision. Every multibagger in history was born from someone who refused to quit when everyone else laughed. Think of this. In 1997, Amazon's Jeff Bezos wrote to shareholders, "We are willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time." He didn't build Amazon for quarterly earnings. He built it for a future no one else could see yet. The Founder's Code. 1. Clarity of purpose. The vision is simple but powerful. Infosys didn't aim to do it projects. They aimed to make Indian software respected globally. 2. Obsession with long-term value. Great founders don't chase money, they chase impact. Narayana Murthy, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk all shared one obsession: building something that outlives them. 3. Resilience through chaos. Every multibagger survived storms, recessions, regulation, disbelief. What mattered wasn't the market's mood, but the founder's persistence. Example: Eicher Motors. From failure to phenomenon. In the early 2000s, Eicher Motors was struggling. Royal Enfield bikes were outdated, sales were stagnant, and investors had given up. Then came Siddhartha Lal, a young CEO with clarity and courage. He killed 14 out of 15 failing businesses, focused on one product, and said, "If we're going to survive, we'll do it by building something iconic." Today, Royal Enfield is one of India's most profitable and loved brands, because one man believed that legacy could be modernized. That's the founder DNA, the fire that compounds belief into value. So here's your first truth. Great businesses aren't born from opportunity, they're born from obsession. In Chapter 2, we'll decode the next trait, the scalable model. How the best companies grow faster, bigger, and more efficiently, without breaking under their own success. Vision is where the journey begins, but scale is how that vision becomes wealth. The rich understand this deeply. They don't just look for growth, they look for scalable growth. What is scalability? Scalability means a business can grow faster than its costs. It's when every additional rupee of revenue requires less effort, less cost, and less manpower than before. The 3 pillars of scalable models. Let's break it down the way professionals analyze it. 1. Replicable system. Every process, from product creation to delivery, must be standardized. Starbucks doesn't depend on one great barista. It depends on a system so consistent that a cappuccino in Seattle tastes identical to one in Mumbai. 2. Asset-light expansion. The richest companies grow without owning everything. Uber owns no cars. Airbnb owns no hotels. Infosys doesn't build hardware. It builds minds, because scalable models protect margins as they grow. 3. Technology and leverage. Technology is the oxygen of scalability. It multiplies human output at 0 marginal cost. Example: a software platform serving 10 customers can serve 10,000 with the same codebase. That's why it has dominated for decades. When evaluating a company, ask yourself, can this business grow revenue without linear cost increase? Is its process standardized or founder dependent? Can it scale geographically or digitally without breaking quality? If the answer is yes, you're not looking at a product. You're looking at a machine for compounding. So here's your second truth. Great businesses don't just grow, they replicate profitably. In Chapter 3, we'll look at what powers this scale. Financial strength. Because no matter how fast you grow, you can't survive long if your balance sheet is weak. Every great company tells two stories, one in headlines and another in its balance sheet. The first story is what the crowd sees: revenue, market buzz, new launches, valuations. But the second story, the quiet one, is what the rich read. That's where the truth lives, because in business, growth means nothing without cash flow, and profit is opinion, but cash is fact. The 3 financial traits of great businesses. 1. Strong operating cash flow. OCF. Operating cash flow is the real profit a company earns from its core business. It filters out accounting tricks and shows what's genuinely earned. Example: Asian Paints and HDFC Bank. Both have OCF that tracks closely with net profit year after year. 2. Prudent use of debt. Debt isn't evil, but uncontrolled debt is lethal. The best companies borrow strategically, not desperately. Metrics: the wealthy watch. Debt to equity. Ratio: ideally below 1. Interest coverage. Ratio: above 3 means comfortable repayment capacity. 3. High return on capital employed, ROCE. ROCE shows how efficiently a business converts capital into profit. It's like fuel efficiency. How many rupees of profit are generated for every rupee invested? ROCE above 15%, healthy. ROCE above 20%, elite. ROCE below 10%, red flag. Example: Asian Paints, ROCE, 25% for decades. Marico, ROCE, 30%. When you study financials, ask, are profits backed by cash? Is debt manageable? Is ROCE strong and rising? Does management reinvest efficiently or recklessly? So here's your third truth. Great companies don't run on hype. They run on cash discipline. In Chapter 4, we'll move from numbers to narrative. How great businesses defend these profits through powerful moats that competitors can't cross. You've now seen what makes a business strong: vision, scalability, and financial discipline. But the real test begins after success, because the moment a company becomes profitable, competition wakes up. And that's when the moat decides everything. What exactly is a moat? A moat is a company's invisible fortress, the competitive advantage that keeps profits inside and competitors outside. In simple words, a moat turns temporary success into durable wealth. The 3 rules of moats that last. Let's go beyond definitions, into patterns. 1. A moat must deepen over time. The biggest mistake investors make is assuming a moat, once built, will last forever. It won't. That's why great companies don't have moats. They expand them. Example: Apple didn't stop at hardware. It built an ecosystem: App Store, iCloud, Apple Pay, Watch, Music, each reinforcing the other. 2. A moat must protect margins, not just market share. Many companies dominate their industry but still fail because they defend size, not profit. Example: Asian Paints. They don't fight for volume. They protect profitability through supply chain mastery, color innovation, and predictive analytics. They make more profit per liter than most competitors make in total. That's real defense. 3. A moat must be hard to price into valuation. If everyone sees the moat, the stock's already expensive. But the best investors identify moats before they're visible in financials. They ask, is customer retention rising even without discounts? Is market share growing quietly despite new entrants? Are margins stable in inflation years? These invisible clues often signal a widening moat, long before the headlines catch on. So here's your fourth truth. Growth builds wealth, but moats protect it. In Chapter 5, we'll move from the business itself to the people who run it. Management integrity. Because no matter how great the moat, a corrupt captain can sink even the strongest ship. You can have the best business model in the world. You can have scale, cash flow, and a deep moat. But if the people steering that business are dishonest, reckless, or short-sighted, it's only a matter of time before it collapses. Because the one thing you can't fix in a company is character. The 3 layers of management integrity. Let's break down how smart investors evaluate management, not with emotion, but with evidence. 1. Transparency. Do they tell the truth? Honest management communicates clearly, consistently, and humbly. They don't overpromise. They don't blame markets for mistakes. They guide investors, even in bad quarters, because they know trust is built in tough times. Example: during market crashes, Infosys and HDFC Bank both hosted open calls explaining risk exposure. 2. Capital allocation. Do they respect shareholder money? A company's capital allocation tells you what management really values. Look for patterns. Are they reinvesting in the core business or chasing fads? Are acquisitions logical or ego-driven? Are dividends and buybacks sustainable or manipulative? 3. Skin in the game. Do they win when you win? Integrity is easiest to measure when incentives align. If management holds significant equity, earns fair pay, and keeps promises, you know they're partners, not parasites. But if salaries rise while profits fall, run. Example: in HDFC and Infosys, senior management owns meaningful stakes and earns through performance. So here's your 5th truth. The richest investors don't bet on companies. In Chapter 6, we'll look at how great companies align themselves with the right timing and tailwinds, the external forces that accelerate growth from good to generational. Great founders create their own destiny, but even they know this truth. It's easier to sail fast when the wind is behind you. The 3 types of tailwinds. 1. Structural tailwinds, the shift in how the world works. These are long, irreversible changes in society or technology. Examples: the move from offline to online, e-commerce, fintech; from fuel to electric, EVs, batteries; from cash to data, AI, analytics, digital infrastructure. 2. Cyclical tailwinds, the rhythm of economic seasons. Every economy breathes in cycles: boom, slowdown, recession, recovery, expansion. Smart investors know which sectors thrive in which season. During booms, autos, real estate, banking. During slowdowns, FMCG, pharma, utilities. During recovery, infrastructure, industrials, technology. 3. Policy and demographic tailwinds, the inevitable advantages. Some trends are written in law and demographics. They don't need innovation, just time. India's youth dividend fuels consumption, housing, and digital growth. Government infrastructure pushes, boosts steel, cement, logistics, and defense. These aren't fads, they're frameworks. You can see them decades ahead. So here's your 6th truth. Great businesses don't fight the future, they flow with it. In Chapter 7, we'll complete our journey with the final and rarest ingredient of all: patience. The silent multiplier that turns good investors into legends. We live in a world obsessed with speed. Everyone wants faster returns, quicker success, instant wealth. But in the markets and in life, speed kills compounding, because true wealth isn't built in weeks. It's built in cycles, decades, and discipline. The 3 timelines of compounding. 1. The short term, 1-3 years. Noise, volatility, uncertainty. This is where traders live and die. 2. The medium term, 3-10 years. Cycles emerge. The weak fade, the strong consolidate. This is where conviction gets tested. 3. The long term, 10+ years. Here, time stops being linear. Returns start compounding exponentially, like gravity reversed. Let me tell you a story. 2 friends, Raj and Arjun, both invest 5 lakh each in 2005. Raj trades, buys and sells 10 times a year, chasing momentum. Arjun buys 5 great companies and does nothing. 15 years later, Raj's portfolio is worth 15 lakh. Not bad. Arjun's? 1.2 crore. Same starting point. Same market. The only difference, activity versus patience. Compounding doesn't work for the busy. It works for the still. Great businesses are built by time. Great investors are defined by patience. Every multi-bagger you admire was once a slow, boring, predictable story, until time made it powerful. If this masterclass opened your eyes to how great businesses are truly built, don't let it stop here. Subscribe to Value Over Vanity, because we're building a generation of investors who think like owners, not gamblers. Comment: what's the longest you've ever held an investment? And what did you learn from it? Share this with a friend who needs to slow down, to go faster.